So, welcome to FinTech Close-Up. One more time, welcome to FinTech Close-Up. Great. FinTech Close-Up is a series of events organized by Baltic Finance Center, where we are going and getting knowledge from Baltic fintechs. We want to hear their stories, their success stories, their failures, and hear from their key persons who have built these fintechs, to learn from them and to understand how we can do similar things. My name is Mārcis Goģis. I'm FinTech Business Education Lead and instructor of Business Model course and FinTech Product Development course. And today you have two opportunities. You will have opportunity to hear a story from Mintos, how they have built their FinTech success. And here, the guys and girls who are on site will have opportunity to also see the student presentations of design prototype, which is part of the FinTech development course. So those who are on online, next time you are welcome to be on site as well. And so let's start. And so I welcome Chief Product Officer from Mintos, Mārcis Goģis. So hi, Mārcis.
Hey.
Nice to have you here. So before maybe we start about the Mintos and all that part, students always are very curious. What is your background? How actually you got to something that cool to build fintech? So maybe you can tell about your early career and the education side.
Yeah, sure. You can then stop me when it's like too long because my journey professionally, it has always been very targeted. I already at the end of high school knew that I want to build something, but really didn't know what to build. And then I was looking for opportunities, what to study. And it was 2006 or 2005, maybe like around that time. And I found there is kind of study program e-commerce, which was something pretty new at that time in Latvia. I think a lot of people even didn't know what this e-commerce means, but it was like half IT, half technical skills, and half was kind of business management. And I at that moment when I read all these descriptions, I understood that's something that I really like, because I don't want to be like pure technical guy who just writes code, which was also something that where I was interested in, but I always wanted to try how it is. And I did some kind of side projects and things like that. But I also always wanted to see kind of broader picture, kind of how the business is developing and how you actually building something larger. So I chose that, and I studied e-commerce. At that time, it was like Riseba was the only place where you could do that. I finished that, and then already at fourth course, I was looking for kind of first job possibilities, and I found company Efumo, which was a web development agency, but at that stage they had pretty interesting projects. So they had customers from all the industries. There was like large banks, also some fintechs at that moment. I think also for finance was kind of booming at that moment. So that was also our customer. I closely worked with them. Then
Did you start as a product?
I started as system analyst. Mm-hmm. A system analyst is basically the person who is defining requirements, who does all the interviews with the founders, trying to understand what the problem is, how to solve that, what are their targets, goals, and things like that. And then basically you take all the information. You need to understand basically how the business is operating, and you need to put on paper and think about all those kind of wireframes, design, prototype. Like, I was not a designer, I was like creating those wireframe prototypes, and basically you write requirements that then development team, which consists of developers, designers, QAs, they can just take a look and they work on that. Yeah. At that moment, it was not that kind of agile and kind of Scrum, and in web development agencies also, if someone of you have worked or you know, it's like not that like in kind of product development company when there is this agile environment. So that was not there, but I really gained super valuable experience, because I really saw a lot of companies from different industries, larger, smaller, bigger, and like my kind of progression was definitely in kind of hockey stick, when it was like exponentially you gain more knowledge. And then already at one moment I understood that these projects that are coming in, they are quite similar. I have already done something like that 6 months ago or something like that, and that was the moment when I I put some kind of next milestone in my career, and then I didn't know at that time why that's so specific, but my target was that I really wanted to work in bank, and I want to see from that inside how actually things work. And then I applied only for banks to get the job. I didn't apply anywhere else. I applied for all the positions that was possible in.
But still in Latvia, not
in Latvia, and I got a job in Swedbank in e-channels team that was responsible for online banking and like basically online sales what are happening in the internet bank. And I was there in position of web analyst, and that was kind of more, if in a FUMO I was like broad and going into details, that was like very targeted position, very narrow, where I was responsible for analytics and how to use this analytics to increase the sales. So basically what I was doing, I was checking how many customers actually go to the, I don't know, mortgage site, what they do there, then they go away, and how
so behavior analysis
how to get them back there and to make this conversion. And we did also some pretty good experiments that worked, and that was also, I think, the time when all this data analytics and that stuff was developing. So also super valuable experience, but also at the same time it was like some time passed, and I understood that like I'm stopping at kind of growing and getting new information. So then my next milestone was I wanted to really be part of and own a project from beginning to the end. It should be kind of large project with stakeholders. So I was looking for a specific job in that kind of area. So I was taking a look at different companies at that moment, and I stopped at La Telecom TET, now they rebranded as TET, and then there was opportunity to be responsible for developing this monthly telecom, which is self-service portal, and basically to improve that. And the goal was to get more people from the branches and from the call centers to the self-service portals, that they do the jobs, that they apply for services, did some adjustments, check their bills and things like that. So basically that was kind of old, and it was a very large project. I think the budget at the time was definitely more than $1 million, and
that was your biggest project till that moment?
Yeah, that was the biggest, also with the biggest stakeholder management, because you need to really also talk with a lot of people from the company, and not only on this IT development, but also the strategy, how actually you convert those people from branches and call centers to the portal, and how do you do that, how do you educate and things like that. So also pretty interesting, but unfortunately I didn't manage to get to the finish, because then Mintos appeared.
So and how did you join the Mintos?
It was actually very not very straightforward, because this decision, because I have put the plans that I need to deliver something and I need to launch something, and I was not there yet. But at the same time, in my head, like kind of about some next career milestones was that I want to be part in startup. Ideally, I want to create my own startup and really build like a company. And at that moment, as I had wide network of connections from this FUMO experience, because like I said, I worked several, I think hundreds of different companies, and due to some common connections, Mārcis Schulte, who is Mintos founder and who has actually idea to start the Mintos, he had that idea. He had like talked to potential investors to have some kind of first funding round, but he needed to build a team. And then we had, like, we didn't know each other, but we had some kind of connections between, who said to Martin that talk to Mārcis. Yeah. And also from my side, when we started this discussion, I also got some other people and who basically get us together, and then we started to have this discussion about Mintos, and we met several times. And I really bought that idea, and I understood that this is basically this opportunity for me to build something meaningful with kind of real problems that you are solving. And also had good connection with Martin. Basically, I was like, okay, this is it. I wanted that already before. Okay, I will not kind of finish.
Was it a hard decision because you are like in stable big company in tech doing great projects, and then there is like startup and industry which is not yet there. Like in 2014 there wasn't peer-to-peer industry. So how hard for you was to actually believe, yes, okay, this is something I want to jump in?
I would say that if I compare with other places where I went to work, I did more due diligence, really understanding kind of background of the people who will also be part of the team, how it will look like. So there definitely I spent more time. It was not that you know the company, you like the company, and you go there. So that's why I say that the process was actually longer. But for me, my risk appetite has always been, I think, above average person, and I really like those kind of challenges. And I was super excited, like to be on kind of first date that you go into the. We rented a super small apartment in Waldemar Street. It was like kind of apartment planning, and you just go there and it's like empty, and then there's just like four desks, and you just need to decide what to start with. You open a new laptop, you install everything, and then you like from completely like it was like completely open blank. We started that, and I never ever saw that it was kind of wrong decision or something like that.
Yeah, of course. If you see how it turns out after 10 years, then it's good to see that it wasn't wrong.
So yeah, that's basically the story. Maybe a bit longer than.
No, it's fine. So can you describe for audience and also those who don't know what is Mintos? So what is core business model and what Mintos do?
Yeah, sure. Maybe I don't know. I'm also interested how many of you are maybe customers of Mintos, or at least know Mintos. And quite a lot.
A lot of new customers today.
Yeah,
right?
potentially new customers. So basically, yeah, what is Mintos? We are all-in-one investment platform. Our positioning is where we focus on our target audience is that we focus on regular passive income, or basically assets that generate the value. It's not, if you compare with some kind of maybe other places where you can buy something and sell something, which is kind of more day trading, that you buy something and sell something. In Mintos, it's kind of more longer term investments that generate you passive income. And currently we have 5 assets, but probably in the future there will be some more. So we started with investments in loans. That's the first one, and there we are definitely market leader, and that was kind of also how we got growing. Then we launched in actually last 12 months all the other ones. So we have fractional bonds that you can also invest in bonds. Then we have ETFs. Then we have residential real estate, and also money market funds, which is kind of super low risk investment with that we can access these money market funds from in cooperation with BlackRock. So yeah, basically we focus on Europe, because in Europe actually people are not investing. If we compare stats with US households, in Europe almost half of the money is sitting in the banks because people don't invest, and there are different kind of reasons behind that. And with what we are doing, our goal is to make this investing more accessible to across the Europe, that more and more people at least think of investments, start to do investments, and understand that that's actually much easier than they think, and they shouldn't be kind of, if you do it in kind of right way according to your risk level, that this is kind of must-have things that you should think of, and you should start earlier than later, because investing is kind of long-term game. It's not that you go and you buy something and you get rich. Yes, some people might do that, and there definitely will be cases, but in kind of average, or if you take kind of mass of people, then definitely there will be more losses than gains. So that's kind of about what we are doing.
Investing usually sounds scary because people don't like to lose money. Yeah? So, and also it sounds complicated, a lot of fancy words, assets, and maybe you can explain from customer experience perspective. So how it works in the Mintos, well, like a customer, what happens? Okay, I want to go to the Mintos, so what happens afterwards? Just to show that actually it's not that scary.
First of all, what you need to do when you come to Mintos, you need to fill this suitability and appropriateness questionnaire, because that's in any financial institutions that offers investments. Because first of all, as a company, we need to understand what is your background. Do you really understand what you're doing? What is your risk appetite? Because
and if you don't, then you still can do something?
Depends. there might be also that we say, sorry, we see that the products that we are offering are not suitable for you.
So you can try, and if something goes wrong, you will just be protected, and nothing will happen
so
to you, right?
you cannot even like maybe start, but like it's not the usual case, because like I said, currently when we have several assets, for example, this money market fund, it's available for everyone because it's like AAA rated financial instrument, it's high liquidity,
super stable,
super stable government financial instruments behind that, and some kind of treasury funds and things like that. So that's available, but kind of for other products you need to really qualify for that. So first of all, you need to fill this suitability and appropriateness, which is kind of questionnaire where you go through and feel, okay, my financial goals, that's how I understand things. And then when that's done, you will see what is kind of products that are suitable for you. And then the thing that is not only within the Mintos, but across all investment space is kind of diversification. So it's like you cannot like just choose one thing and invest because that's kind of higher risk if something happens in that industry with that kind of specific asset, and then you lose the money. So why we are also having those kind of several assets and why we plan to add more is that actually people, when they build, modern investor, when he or she builds the investment portfolio, it should consist of several assets, and these assets will kind of, there are kind of economical different cycles. Different assets are reacting differently, and if you have diversified, then it means that also you are reducing the risk. So from customer perspective, it looks like, you got in the Mintos, you fill this questionnaire, then you see different assets, and then basically depending on your risk appetite and what are your kind of goals, you just choose whatever you want to start. But basically from €50 you can get fractional bond, and those kind of bonds that we are offering were not available for retail customers before. So if you want to invest in Air Baltic bonds, the minimum ticket size was 100K. So imagine how large portfolio you should have to have it like diversified portfolio if you are willing to get just one bond ticket with 100K. So with the help of technology and all this kind of also a lot of legal work, regulation and things like that, what we have managed to build that we can fractionalize that. And now, for example, in Mintos, at the moment it's not available, but I think last few weeks we also had a Baltic bond, which is maybe something that here everyone can know. So you can get like, you can invest €50 and you get the part of that, which was not available before. And there are a lot of other things like what we are offering. So
this is really cool, because the entry barrier for like these complex instruments like bonds, it's usually really high, as you say, like 100K euros. Not a lot of people have that, but you have made it possible also with €50 to actually own part of Air Baltic bonds. So. That's cool. But what makes Mintos unique in the market? So you are more than 50% of the peer-to-peer market, right? So by far the biggest marketplace in continental Europe. So what is the unique aspect? Why it's possible?
I think the uniqueness is we did also this kind of positioning exercise some time ago to also understand what customers value and how we position differently, and it was about kind of this more long-term horizon, passive regular income that people in Mintos, they are not coming to get fast profit like you do with cryptos, that you buy something, you hope that it goes up or down, and then
some Trump coin.
Trump coin and things like that. And that's definitely one thing about loans. Definitely that helps that we got also on the right moment when we started the company in 2014 when we started to work, and we launched in 2015. That was the time also when this kind of peer-to-peer bubble was kind of booming and more people were talking about that, and we got really quickly into that kind of right place at the right time, that we delivered and pivoted also from kind of our first initial idea to the business models that allowed us to scale much quicker. So that was kind of marketplace business model, because if, for example, if we just talk about peer-to-peer lending space, then most of the players, what they did, they offered one product. So it was kind of lending companies, they issued kind of one specific type of loans, maybe business loans, maybe some other loans, and then they created this peer-to-peer lending marketplace. What we did, we focused more on this marketplace model on technology. What we build APIs that different lending companies that don't need to build their own platforms, but they connect to us. We have kind of large pool, we have like larger marketing budget. And then also from customer perspective, you come to the Mintos and you get the access like diversified across different loan types, different countries, lending companies, and you have really broad variety of different loans that you can access. But that was kind of in the beginning, but then we understood actually that this kind of investing is kind of more problem that we want to add more and more assets, and it makes sense to just not to focus on one asset, but to provide more opportunities to customers.
Maybe you can share some like numbers. So how many customers you have, and maybe how many countries, assets from how many countries you have. So just to understand the magnitude of the Mintos platform.
Yeah, at the moment we have more than 500,000 registered users. Most of customers are coming from Europe. There are some exceptions also outside Europe, but that's kind of there is kind of rules that need to we cannot accept customers from any country or in the world, but there are some kind of rules, and also a bit outside Europe, but majority 90% is Europe. We focus on Europe because we see that there is like the biggest market potential, and that's kind of our target market. And total assets under management, which is basically the money that we are currently administrating, this is a bit more than 700 million euros in total. Yeah. So
yeah. It's still growing, right? And more and more customers are registering.
Yeah. It was definitely not like always, because in the beginning it was like really exponential growth. Then COVID came, Russia started the war. Also that went together with the moment when actually we were so big that we also had these discussions with regulators that we cannot provide this kind of financial instruments that we are providing in such a structure that we were doing. It was not something illegal, but it was not under this regulation guidelines. So basically what we needed to do, we needed to take completely new asset as loans and make it in kind of regulated environment. And that took us almost 2 years. Initially, we saw that it was like 6 months. We will launch it and let's move forward. It took around 2 years. It was very long process, and during that also we were not able to like expand. We were not able to do kind of marketing. We just focus on getting existing business transformed to regulated environment, which was at that moment kind of boring because you are used to some kind of things that you are work with real customers. You are making features that people love, and you are seeing results growing. At that moment was like you're taking your existing product, making a bit different, some kind of additional documents you need to generate. It sounds maybe simple, but it was not. It was super complex. Now I look back, it was actually quite interesting experience, but at that moment it was just a job that you need to do. And now looking back, I'm super proud that what we did with loans, basically now this asset has also this ISIN number, which if you invest in ETFs or stocks, and also there is this ISIN number, it's registered in this ESMA register, European register. So basically you can really compare. It has prospectus, it has this key information documents like any
like
regular
full financial instrument,
which was not before. So we did that, which was also I think good achievement, but at that moment of course we were not growing. And now when we did that, we finalized that. I think now I would say last year we are again back to the growth, but we are still looking for some kind of ways how to escalate that growth even more, but yeah, we are now back to growth.
That's a huge turning point for the company, right? So just to change the business model totally due to regulation aspect. Maybe you can share, has there been any other like huge challenges along the way? Because it's like 10 years for the company, so it's the regulation part. It's okay. It's really challenging. Maybe you can share something else.
Yeah, there's I think around 4. These kind of bigger milestones or turning points for Mintos. First was definitely when you need to build everything from scratch. Nobody has done that. You just try to do your best and see if it works. It's different.
That's really
exercise
fun, right?
and where the fun is, and you want to see how actually real customers will interact. Then the next milestone was that we understood that the market is actually bigger, and if we want to scale, then we should pivot from this, because initially we offered just one type of product. It was mortgage loans, we were looking for those mortgage loans ourselves here in the region.
That's in the first years of the Mintos, eh?
I would say first months,
okay.
first few months. And then we understood that actually to run these operations and focus on lending and focus on investors, these are completely two different worlds. Like marketing, you need to like double, like two teams, because that's completely different. We try to do some kind of common things on both, but it's like not working. And then we understood that this opportunity is much bigger, and let's drop that and better focus on that, that we are building this marketplace infrastructure, that we are going after different lending companies, try to connect them in Mintos, and we are focusing more on building very good user experience for the investors. And that was, I think, one of the first success factors. If we would not do that, probably we would stay in kind of lower scale and not went so big. When we did that, that really changed the speed how we were operating, and our portfolio was growing, number of investors were growing. It was like really high growth stage. Just to give some kind of examples, in the beginning of year you are 60 people in the company, in December comes you are about 200 people in the company. So also number of investors, I think we got tens of thousands in months or something, but yeah, maybe need to double check that. But anyways, it was like super growth. Then the next milestone, which was kind of this kind of negative aspect, was definitely when COVID came and Russia started the war. It was kind of close. Yes, there were two separate events, but like it was in kind of one loop, and then basically you understand that you're not growing anymore, and you need to start to think about how to get through this, and then you also need to really quickly
maybe
make some
explain
decisions.
why you're not growing, what's happened from investor mindset, so what's changed?
From investor mindset is like uncertainty, what is happening in the world, why should I keep investments? I want to have kind of more liquid assets and cash if something happens. If I'm losing my job, I need that money. So people
they just stopped investing, right?
They are definitely stopping investing, and with also with our product, it's also possible to sell in secondary market and cash out. So a lot of people were doing that. Then in the same time, basically for everyone, it's not like going good. Also for those lending companies that are issuing loans, there are some kind of issues because they are in different geographies. For example, in the same Russia or Ukraine, you cannot get the money out from there. So basically, there is this kind of some funds are going into recovery. Of course, if you take the whole pool of your portfolio, it's not that all portfolio is not performing. It's still generating good returns, but there is some part that is not performing and that is in recovery. And also for the customers who has joined and they have get used to only that they are earning, and at that one moment they see, okay, something actually can go into the recovery. That also was something that of course people extra stress, and that all together definitely get us to the moment when we were not growing, we were just keeping that level where we are. There were some kind of drops in terms of those recoveries, but yeah, I think that's also a very good experience.
So get through the COVID and then kind of started to grow, and then the war happened, and again the drop, right?
Yeah, again some drop, and then that all those kind of both two events, they were still manageable. It was not that we were kind of thinking that we will go out of business or something like that. It was, of course, not tough times. You need to make some tough decisions, but it was not that kind of whether there will be Mintos or no. That was kind of part of the business. What didn't help us was that at the same time we needed to go through this regulation, and like I said in the beginning, we saw that it's like a couple of months, and then let's go. It was actually 2 years for that. And yeah, we just kept the same level because we were not able to acquire new customers, do the marketing. And when we finished the process and got everything in place, then we got back to the growth again.
Back to the market, yeah.
Yeah, and the last milestone, which was at the moment, during the moment when we went through this regulation journey, was that we were discussing that also we will have these licenses in place, and from our existing customer base we already see what are kind of different patterns or issues why people in Europe are not investing, and we understood that by offering broader asset classes where you can invest more, we can actually get more people invested, and those customers also who were coming for Mintos for loans, they usually had also some other assets, and we thought why not offer within our platform so that they don't need to take something out when they want to invest in ETFs and put something back when they want to, like maybe interest rates are growing, so that they can do everything in one platform. And that was also like the last turning point or milestone that we decided, yes, let's go as kind of multi-asset platform. And then quickly within a year we added 4 new investment products, which was a very good pace again.
For a product builder, that's a dream, Jet, to build new products and in such fast pace.
Yeah, everyone was super excited. I think that was like, very good time.
Let's check in with the audience. So maybe audience has some questions so far for the Mintos. Yes, there is some. Just a second, take a microphone.
Here. Yeah, thanks for talk. I wondered, how did you gain the trust of people, of your customers? Because when people are giving you money, they need to trust you. Since it was basically a new sector you started, how did that happen?
It actually happened naturally by word of mouth. And in the early days, how it happened, we did this closed launch for our friends, family, like a closed loop of people for kind of 1 week that they can test. And then they were, of course, speaking with some other people. They liked the product. And then when we did public launch, some kind of more and more people who were kind of those friend of their friends was interested because the product was really good. And people, when they started to use, they were talking about that. There is kind of new platforms, they use that. I haven't seen something like that. And also one of the key events was that there was, I don't know how we get to that person, I don't remember, but there was one German blogger who was kind of financial blogger about investing and things like that. So he registered and he wrote in some forum, German forum. Then it was like everyone was coming and
all the Germans started.
And those people also who were coming in, they were again referring. And then quite quickly we understood that our key channels, how we can get more customers, is really through the mouth. So we stimulated that by adding proper refer a friend program. And then we also understood that we need to work with those opinion leaders who are already like this kind of German guy who wrote about us, and we found, I don't know, 10 other similar guys like him who are doing the same, and did some cooperation with them. And that was really like a snowball that more and more people were talking. We didn't use any classical marketing at that moment with some kind of banners, TV ads, or things like that. That was kind of, that escalated the growth. Of course, the buzz about the industry itself definitely helped. And another thing that also helped, but maybe not so much as what I mentioned about this word of mouth, was that at early days we also really focus on customer. We do that also now, but in the early days it was much easier to focus on the feedback that is coming in. There is kind of customer, he uses a product and then he sends an email, I don't like that and that and that and that. And you really quickly see the pattern that there are, I don't know, 3 or 4 guys saying the same thing. We just put that in the next sprint, we deliver the feature, and they were super happy that we were like super quickly reacting on that feedback. And they saw like very fast development also of the platform. And I think that was also how the trust was boosted. So yeah, that's about it.
Thanks.
Do we have some other question?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Has your average client, the profile of your average client, changed by the years? Or is it like some steady type of people that are using your services?
It has changed, and what we have also understood that there is not kind of one persona that you can put on the whiteboard and that all the customers will look like that persona. At the moment we have 3 main personas, like we have segmented them, and it changed by time, especially maybe not recently. Recently it's quite all those kind of 3 types of persons that are coming. But in the beginning, these who joined in the beginning, these were these early adopters who want to try something new, who already are quite experienced in the industries. They understand how finance is working and what actually the product is. So they were in kind of terms of knowledge and understanding about investing definitely above average. And then by time, definitely this kind of trend was kind of going more broader, that more and more broader audience that maybe are kind of new to investing are joining. But in the early days, it was definitely those kind of early adopters who really knew more about investing than average person.
Yeah. How you actually define the customer persona? So for students to also understand how to try to actually figure out what is my customer. So how you are doing that?
We are doing that. We had this kind of positioning workshop. In that, what we are doing, we are basically gather data about customers, what you know already from your kind of CRM or database, like countries, what they are coming in the suitability and appropriateness. There are some other characteristics about education, about your investment goals, then average portfolios and how they actually act, if they add regular monthly payments or if they put some kind of one large lump sum in investment and these kind of things. You can see there's some patterns. That's kind of one thing. Then what else we are doing? We are doing user interviews. Basically, we target some group of people, real customers, sending out surveys, doing video interviews, and then asking really some questions. And then putting all that together and trying also to see what are some kind of points that overlap and create those segments, plus also what we see from our positioning perspective, what is kind of our unique these USPs. Then we define those personas. And now, in the beginning, we didn't actually do that because we were growing and
no need to try.
It was like we were not investing in marketing like a lot at that moment. We were like more focusing on product development. Now, when we are like really, I think, doing best practices in marketing for all those kind of things, then also we restarted this positioning and like I said, we came to some kind of 3 different personas that we see. Definitely, there are probably some more, but these are kind of main personas that we focus on. And then there are kind of smaller segments and that you can also define. But that's basically talking with your customers, using the data and trying to find what are things that overlap and how these segments are creating.
Yeah. Can you give one example of one customer persona? So how you have defined it?
Risk takers, steady earners, and like profit maximizers.
What is risk taker? So what is his main characteristics?
These are basically persons who come specifically for assets that we offer with a higher percentage rate. They are in terms of how they are using products, they feel smarter than our algorithms, so they are not using our automated ready-made portfolios. They are cherry-picking a lot of different things. They are working with filters. They usually have already most of other assets that investors should have, like ETF stocks, before we offer that in Mintos somewhere else. And they are really coming for these kind of higher interest rates. These are kind of most general, but there are a lot of some other characteristics. I will not go into details, but you can find those kind of, those who are these steady earners. They prefer better these automated portfolios. They are maybe not so not educated, but they don't know all the details. Why kind of this financial instrument, how it differs from that. They want to have kind of X amount per month that they put in their portfolios. They have that goal, and they are ready to trust that the portfolio that we have provided that makes some kind of automated investments is good for them, so they use that. So different approach how you go, and then when you target them and market them, do the marketing, there's different messaging, different landing pages, different also channels where you can get them, and having them definitely helps to get more people.
Great. Okay, so let's go a bit about like mindset. So you are building product for investors. So what's your mindset or culture? How you're approaching this internally, and the Mintos success story is also around the investor products.
First of all, I think what is in our DNA is that we are really want to test things quite quickly. It's not that when we are doing something, we are not doing kind of long project for a year, then there is kind of large versions that we launch, and then let's see how it works. We usually try to find this really MVP version, first minimum viable product, just to test our kind of hypothesis and in the interest of the customers. We launch that, we really quickly understand what are kind of next features that are needed, and then we move forward in kind of iterations. That's one thing that we have done from the day one, that's better launch not perfect product, but do that more quickly. Of course, you need to have also the balance. You cannot launch something that all the people will say, what's that, and I will not use that. So you really need to find which is kind of this
should still be viable.
minimum marketable
Okay.
marketable product that you need to launch. So that's one thing I think in our culture. Another thing what I wanted to like mention is definitely that in our teams, especially like not especially, but like across all the Mintos and especially in product and engineering, we're looking for people who has like-minded, this kind of growth mindset. We don't want to get in some kind of moments that, okay, this is how we are doing things, this is kind of best practice, and we are not changing anything. We're doing a lot of experiments. We are trying to, okay, I don't know, sprints are not working, let's try Kanban approach. That is not working, I don't know, we're trying to do some kind of experiments to really find the best practices. We are really curious for growth. We are, I don't know, learning how others are doing. We are looking kind of what this kind of competition is doing. I personally really like the most usable way where I get some inspiration and how to do things is not from, I also like read some books, sometimes go to some conference or watch some videos, but I really like to find few companies that are, I don't know, 5 years ahead of us, and I try to get some kind of people who are doing the same thing as me or kind of in product development, and I try to get with them to some kind of lunch or I have done that several times. In the early days when we were not so popular, I think I managed to get only to Bolt, which was kind of close Estonian, and then through some network, I get to that chief product officer. He's now, I think, not anymore product officer. He's this president of Bolt. I got to him just ask questions. How do you?
They are willing to share their knowledge.
Actually, Of course, there are. When you like in the early days, I send out 20 messages in LinkedIn. Of course, you try to find first of all somebody who is in kind of connection that you can introduce. Then, of course, the chance is bigger. Of course, not everyone applies, but I got still some 3-4 people from your own network that you can really go and chat with about some kind of things. And now when we already kind of better brand and people know, then in September in Berlin I can go to the lunch with Raisin and 26 trader.
So they're more already coming.
Yeah, because also in our network in Mintos we also hired people who are employees in these companies, so they can introduce you, and that is really valuable because you really see that some kind of company who is like doing something similar, they are much bigger, they have gone through the cycles that you are doing, and then you can ask them what were kind of at that stage, some issues and things like that. And that's definitely a thing. But overall, it's kind of about growth mindsets that you don't want to take into account that, okay, this is how I'm doing and that's the best, but you really strive to do something more, do something extra, take best practices. We sometimes also just, read some books which are kind of must-have books for Silicon Valley or for some companies, and then we do those kind of sessions that, 5 people that are responsible about product or marketing read the book, and then we are having these discussions what we could implement from that. And we have done a lot of different practical things from that, and I think that's also. And the third thing is kind of about really execution, and it's not, if you start something and it's startup, it's not that you can chill, relax and see how it's going. It's really putting a lot of effort, and not now I have a good work-life balance, but in 2014 when we started the company, we were so excited that we were building that product just to get for the launch and to see that real people will come and use your product. We were getting to the work, I think, around 8. We ordered at 7 dinner from Burga, because it was the closest place we ate together dinner. We were 4 or 5 guys in that office. Then we did
The night shift,
not night shift, but maybe an hour or something like that. We went back home. It was around, I think, 9. And these were kind of old days like that. And even when we were close to the lunch moment, we came also for Saturdays, I think, and that was kind of. We started in July and we launched in January, so basically half a year it was like that. And it's not about going to conferences and then pitch your ideas and then talk to people.
It's actually
like
to
really,
build.
It was really like at that moment that was kind of also from my personal experience the most toughest time about how much effort you are putting into something, that you were really constantly every day doing that. But that was also the motivation was kind of natural, that we all just wanted. It was like you have some kind of adrenaline that you just want faster to see how it actually will work in real life. And we did that. And then, of course, still there are some kind of moments in this life cycle when you need to put some extra effort, but obviously the bigger the company is getting and the more people are, and there are some kind of specializations in one and another area, of course there's kind of better life balance. In the beginning you just do everything what needs to be done. So that's third thing that I could emphasize.
Yeah, cool. I like your tip and trick actually about this LinkedIn to reach out the persons and go to the launch. Of course, you will send out 20 cold emails or whatever. Maybe you can share some other tips and trips what you have learned from building the products which students can use and take as a good practice to try to do.
I think the good practice, if you can do that, just create some kind of prototyping, wireframe prototype or something like that, and try to test with real users. And you don't need to, I don't know, if you want to target people in Germany, you don't need to go there. You can really use, I don't know, video calls, and there are even some tools that you can organize those kind of prototype testings, or just start with your friends. And that really helps you to validate some kind of things, because when you are in that loop of development and you build something, you already have this bias that you have more information than others, and just getting that to some kind of other people and other opinions will allow you more quickly adjust and build the product that is more suitable for the end customer. And you will avoid that situations that you will launch something and something is not working, and then I need to spend extra time on something. And really, better use smaller increments than kind of larger versions, because that also allow you to learn much quicker and get this kind of in that feedback loop. And you can avoid today actually we had very also interesting workshop where the person said that most waste that you can get in development is delivering features that are not used. It's around kind of 60 or something %, which you can avoid by kind of testing, and just you don't need to do formal tests. You can show your friends and get that feedback. Yeah, I think.
Yep, those are good tests. Just to be faster, more agile, and test it before build it, right?
And and maybe one more thing, which is not maybe directly to the developing product, but it's about the team and building the team. It's like super important. And if you are not the only person and you know that you will need to build a team, this hiring and looking for a right person, it's like super critical. And you need to remember that you are the hiring managers. There will not be any agency or since some other companies they call, okay, HR got me this candidate, this is the best one. But you really should kind of define the whole process. You really need to understand what you need from this person, and you need to put a lot of effort to really get the right team around you. And that was also something that we did quite early, and we have a quite structured process how we are doing recruitment, and that definitely has turned out. In the beginning, we had some kind of failures, but we learned quite quickly, and that is also very important, because you will need to work with those people kind of longer term and just spend extra effort on that. So that's also what I can suggest from the day one, if you are building team or choosing your co-founder or anyone who will you be working with.
All right, all right. Let's check in with the audience again. We have some few questions from YouTube live stream as well. So, there is question: which companies do you consider your closest competitors? So, or you are maybe so unique that there is no serious competitors. So, how do you look on that?
We look at basically all the platforms where you can make investments. Revolut, N26, Trade Republic, Scalable Capital, those will be kind of those that we are kind of...
So you're positioning yourself into the same segment and
Yeah,
fighting
where
for
you
the same
can
investor money?
all-in-one investment platform. And this is like most of the companies that we are following, but these are kind of, well, I just named those that more probably everyone will know, but there are kind of niche. If you, for example, when we are building ETF, of course, we go kind of more niche. We check how the Giro or Trading 212 is building their stuff, but kind of in this more direct, where you can go to one platform and you have several assets in one place. Those will be those that I mentioned earlier, but it's definitely when product by product. For example, for bonds, we check that kind of Wise Alpha in UK. Probably nobody knows about that, and some others. So it really depends on what you are building, and it's not always also about kind of direct competition. For example, when our design team is working on some kind of new functionality or product, what they are doing, they're also checking some kind of best practices in kind of design field. How Airbnb are building filters.
So not only in investor like platforms.
How they are building that, I don't know, pop-ups or what's the solutions there. We are also using some tools how you can easily go. No, you don't need to register always in all those platforms. So there are some tools where you can subscribe for some kind of monthly subscription, and where you can see some designs as well. So we try to use that. But yeah, in general, those platforms where you can have several investments in one place.
Okay. So if you're proceeding then what's next for Mintos? So what's the next challenges, or how do you see maybe upcoming trends or technologies they will influence somehow Mintos' growth story? So how you're looking on that?
Definitely, I think this is also a topic where I could talk for probably an hour. So just stop at some moment when it's like too much. But in terms of Mintos, like our biggest goal and our vision is to get more people in Europe that they invest, and by investing, what is the value that they will have in longer term better lives. You can act smart with your finance. You will have some kind of passive income or buffer in the retirement or things like that. So that's our ambition, and that's kind of not the things that you can do in kind of shorter term, because you need to educate a lot of people, and like I said, a lot of people in Europe don't invest at all. So that's kind of for me what we want to build. In terms of technology, what you asked, definitely we see that AI is doing already a lot of changes, and that will be the future for sure. And already now we are doing I would say several different initiatives at Mintos where we are practically using AI. And for the future and longer term, I also see that we will use AI more and more often.
But you're like using it for operational, or also building in somehow in the products?
At the moment, we're using both. For example, our engineers have recently started to use this Copilot.
So it's just internal efficiency.
Internal efficiency for Copilot. Then we already have this Google Vertex chatbot, which is trained on our, and actually it's decreasing 45% of our tickets, and also makes some efficiency. A lot of people in company are already using this OpenAI 4 Pro version, which is also part of our kind of growth budget, that if that can help you in your daily, you can use, no matter if you are in product development or in finance. But in product development, we are using Reforge AI. If somebody knows, Reforge is a learning and development platform focused on product and marketing, also quite popular service, and like a lot of top people from Silicon Valley share their knowledge there, and you can get access, and they have AI built on top of that really helps you to work with that material. So we are using Reforge AI, which is kind of assistant if you are, for example, I don't know, writing product strategy or writing epic for something, then this Reforge AI really can challenge you, make it kind of more efficient, add some kind of points that you were not thinking about. So that's one thing that we are using, and now we are in the stage when we are pilot testing one other tool that will help us to work with the feedback, because feedback usually is coming in through different sources. You have something with your customer service, you do user interviews, surveys, and then there are app reviews, Trustpilot reviews, and it's kind of messy somewhere. And when you need, and feedback is super important from product perspective, and when you need to build something, you need to understand what actually is the most valuable feedback that you need to take into account. So we will be using the tools that actually aggregates all the feedback together, and on top of that, with AI, helps you to see the trends and some kind of historically what are kind of specific topic, how was the feedback, and it can give you also some kind of suggestions, and you can communicate with that. You don't need to take all the feedback in the Excels and try to filter something and see some patterns. You can really just write, give me the feedback of all the German customers that have joined recently in the last 60 days Mintos. What do they say about our loans product? And this the tool it's like in pilot project at the moment, probably we will implement that in longer term. So those are kind of real examples that we are already using, but in longer term also what is in our kind of future roadmap that we definitely want to see build also in our portfolio management in combination with AI, because each of us are unique and we have different investment goals, risk appetite, and things like that. And by AI, it would be much easier to tailor a specific portfolio to rebalance it for your needs. Yeah, and there we see really the value of AI.
So that actually would something internally built like AI for personalization for user.
Yeah, you come to the Mintos. We know some kind of data sets about you, and with the help of AI and knowing how other people with similar kind of make invest, we can provide like best, most suitable portfolio for your needs. So that's kind of more for longer term, but also kind of practical. So there are some kind of smaller teams as well, probably, but kind of the biggest one, and where we really see that, and we are also kind of exploring more. And when we have these quarterly planning sessions, we are talking more and more about that. So we really see the value of AI, how it's changing the industry.
Great. Okay, let's check in with the audience. Do you have questions? Yes, we have.
In case that you need to build P2P lending business from the scratch now with a limited budget, you would choose the same brokerage MiFID license or the newer one crowdfunding license?
MiFID license for sure, because there are some differences and limitations with what you can do with crowd lending license. And also from terms of regulation point of view, what we also see in kind of trust element, this MiFID license is much better. And of course, it requires bigger investment, but we would not go for crowd lending license.
Okay, thank you.
All right, do we have some other? Yes, please.
I'm curious how you explored European countries, because it's still European Union, but among countries, people are quite different. For example, if in Northern Europe, people are investing a lot, and in South of Europe, investing is not so popular. So how did you explore those obstacles in each country and also legislation? From practical point of view.
Yeah, a good question. How we are doing that, we take usually country by country. Obviously not in the parallel all the Europe in one time, and we don't want to go into it. We usually like you do with everything, we prioritize what are our key markets for next period of time. Then we take top 5 countries, and then we go deeper into those. And what we're doing, we are, for example, checking, because one of the topics also for the customers, which is very important, is about taxation. How actually, if I invest you, how I will submit all these tax statements in my country. And this differs. It's not that there is kind of one unified approach for the whole Europe. It's like really country by country. And then we take country by country. We cooperate with legal firms or consultations in those countries just to help with to understand what the information is needed, how it's working. That's more from kind of operation or technical perspective. And from marketing perspective, it's just really customer research. And when we are hiring people in marketing team, we also try to make this team international. So already now in our marketing team, we have nationalities from all those countries that are currently our target market. And then also it's much easier. And that also what we understood by learning by doing that. If you want to do like marketing in kind of global scale, it's super hard to have like this proper marketing team here in Latvia, because there are a lot of difference, for example, how you need to do those things and what works in Germany. That's why currently most of our marketing team sits in Berlin, because it's quite international place. We can get talent from different countries there, with also experience in top fintech companies. And then they just explore some patterns. For example, in France, you need to speak French. All the content should be in French. If it will not be in French, you can just, we tried in the beginning, and then we really quickly understood that English is not working. You need to localize everything, and everything should be perfect. Otherwise,
French especially don't like English.
And this is kind of what you are like really doing by kind of research. In Germany, again, they like some kind of these trust elements. If you have, I don't know, TUV certificate or ISO 9000 something, then they feel more safe that you are also putting that this MiFID license and compensation scheme and regulated and those kind of elements. So yeah, it differs, but we are not trying to take everything in kind of one. We just prioritize top 3-5 countries, and then we try to cover them.
All right, great, yeah.
So European crowdfunding regulation is actually covering peer-to-business lending, and you are operating under somewhat more heavy license to be able to actually do this peer-to-peer and other investment products. But what do you see needs to happen in a EU kind of scale or in the EU landscape? Because we know that there is kind of like niche regulations in different European countries that are allowing the business models that are similar to yours competing with you. Mm-hmm. Like what's your take on that?
Our take on that is that ideally it should have kind of unified approach, and this license should be kind of more complex for everyone. Otherwise this competition also is not fair, and you can also not compare the risks between, for example, some companies. If you're operating with some local license in some specific country, you don't need to have, I don't know, 30 people in AML team. You don't need to check where the funds are coming in, and you can put some kind of more risky things, and nobody is checking you. And then from the opposite side, there is kind of this regulation, which is you are like doing a lot of reporting, you have all the procedures in place, and your like quality and kind of risk is not comparable with that. And from our point of view, we would be more happy if there would be kind of more stricter regulation, but across all the European countries, so there is not some kind of these loops where somebody find, and then also when there is kind of platform who has maybe no regulation at all, or it's like on smaller scale, yes, nobody goes after them, they do the business, and then one day they go off of the business. It actually has very negative impact, what we have seen also in history, when some players went out, because then there's kind of reputation risk for the whole industry. So definitely I would be, not I, but like we would be more happy to have kind of more unified across Europe.
Yeah, I feel that we could easily talk another hour with Mārcis, but we have to start to wrap up, and then maybe let's wrap up with the question. So, could you give like one piece of advice for someone who wants to build a fintech company or fintech product? So, what would be your advice?
I think I would probably repeat what I already mentioned. I think first of all, it's about execution, not always about idea, but really putting hard work in that. If you know something, that just go and do that. And and don't try to get in those loops that, okay, I'm not sure if it's like final project, or maybe I should add the extra filters here. Oh no, I added the extra filters here, but maybe I need the back office as well. And then you just for 1 year spend and try to polish something, but you haven't received real customer feedback. So really quick iteration, just go put this first MVP out, see what is working, and then try to. But that's kind of first thing. Another thing would be definitely if you're not doing that alone, but with some other people, really invest time in that, and nobody else besides you. It's especially in this early stage, be kind of do the job for you. It's you cannot outsource talking with the people and really trying to find the best teams that you have been you will be working with. And the third one would be don't have this kind of fixed mindset. Try to
Continuous learning, right?
continuous learning, and try to see what others are doing, what companies that are in front of you are doing, and try to gain the knowledge, and not only kind of this theoretical that you know everything, but always try when you do something, just find some kind of actionable steps, some practical steps that you can put yourself accountable, that okay, I like this from they how they are doing, or I read this in this book, okay, try to use it in your daily routine.
Yeah, there you have it. Easy, right? So, few advices from Mārcis. Thank you very much, Mārcis, for your time and for your. Also, we have a little present for you. So
Thanks.
Thank you, Mārcis. Before we finalize the live stream, I just want to tell about upcoming FinTech Close-Up events. So there will be another one. Actually, there will be 3 more this semester. And next one will be on the March 26th. And Liga Vintele from Fintelligence will be here. And we will talk with her about what Fintelligence has done. So follow Baltic Finance Center LinkedIn, subscribe to YouTube, and keep tracking us and what we're doing. Thank you.